Searching for an hour, 250 subscribers. Question and answer thing. Holy fucking shit. You've asked me your questions, and now I shall answer them. I'm honestly surprised by this turnout. I didn't think I'd get half of what I got. Now, I've sorted these by date, rather than the person who asked, so if your name comes up multiple times in this video, you'll understand why. With that said, let's begin the A of the Q&A special. Rob51587 asks, would you do a horror game, and if so, which one? Horror games kinda weird me out, almost to the point that in Total Darkness, I do get a little jumpy because I really get into my games. Maybe something with a little humor behind it, like the Dead Rising or Dead Island, if I had to pick one to LP, ever. If you could pick one anime or comic you could live in, what would it be? Lucky Star, because then I'd be kawaii forever. What was the one game you spent money on and regretted it? X-Men Destiny, because it sucked. It was a total waste. Kinda could have been cool, it could have been awesome, but so much wasted potential. So much wasted potential. If you could make a match in wrestling, who would you like to see fight and in what type of match? Any new and old match types are allowed. Ken Shamrock versus Daniel Bryan in a Lion's Den match. And for those that don't know what that match is, when Shamrock wrestled for the WWE, then F at the time, some of his bigger feuds in pay-per-view matches were contested in this cylinder-esque cage, and would have a UFC-style match where the way to win was either by submission or knockout. No pinfalls. I do want said cage, when they do this again, to be much larger, because I remember the cage for that match being very cramped, and the referee had to be on top of the cage to call the match because the two combatants inside would take up almost all of the space. For one day, you could do anything with no ill will, with no ill outcome. What would it be? Invite the tea party to a tea party, and then tell Jerome he wasn't invited. Fuck your tea! If you could shrink... new question, the guy. Fancy Night asks, if you could shrink your feet by 1 foot for $1,000, how many thousand/feet would you take? Alright, I got big feet, but not 12 inches big, and I need my feet to walk over this shit, so 0. What kind of bird would you be if you could be one? Probably an owl, so I don't need sleep at night. But then I'd be one of those genetically altered owls that never need sleep ever. Sweet. What kind of coin would you be if you could be one? The last coin that Will Turner throws into the dead man's chest at the end of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. All the time wondering if that was the same hand that righteously decked Bieber. Yeah. Ever wanted to go deep-sea diving with a whale? Can't swim, so no? If you had to go to the zoo with 2 WWE wrestlers, who and what animals would you see? I know they're not current wrestlers, but I would go with Trish Stratus and Stacy Keibler, and Red Pandas, I guess. That's what's hot on the streets right now. Dracus asks, if you could add beluga in front of animal's name, what would? Beluga de Lupa, because it sounds cool. What color do your eyelashes taste of? Eyelashes can't taste of! Silly Dracus. I'm tempted to be that one guy and ask the obvious, so here we go. Final Fantasy IX? I rented it once, it stuck with me through the most part. I don't think I had the best handle on Tetramaster, though. That new minigame was like Triple Triad, but it wasn't. I really like the characters, though. Vivi all day, day, you know what I mean? I liked it better than my brief time spent in Final Fantasy VII, I can tell you that for free. Naoto Shirogane asks, favorite female and male X-Men and Brotherhood members? Gambit for male, Shadowcat and Storm for female. As far as the Brotherhood goes, Magneto for male, Scarlet Witch for female. Persona 3 or 4? I know much of 4, but not a whole lot of 3. But I never played either one. It'd be a little unfair to answer this question now. In games where there is an alignment, good or evil, good first, then evil in the second playthrough. Who or what inspired you to start LPing? I've been playing video games for as far back as I can remember, but I personally was never the most talkative, so I didn't think I'd do well in that. I was in a Skype call with some other LPers like Goddammit Joel, Phantom Savage, Kana Sky, I forget who else was there, Moby Vicious, I don't remember. But I was in the call playing Super Mario Crossover at the time, and I was like, Goombas, I'm gonna get out of here, or some dumb shit like that. And I think Phantom was the first one to chime in saying he couldn't wait for me to start my first LP, and I spoke about this in greater detail if you look up my commentary in the first X-Men Legends video I did. As far as inspiration goes, the 3 LPers I already mentioned, Lewis Prowers was a big one just because his it wasn't much on, he's not much on presentation because I think he's still doing camcorder LPs, but I always thought he could get away with it because his commentary was funny for me for a while. The Gaming Goose for a while. He was the first LPer I actually saw, which opened the door about 5-6 years ago? Was when that Captain Saver video he did? That's when I first heard about LPers to begin with. I'm not answering that 5th question about triangle-shaped buttholes and Toblerones, thank you very much. And here I thought Dracus was going to have the oddest questions. Winner and new champion, Naoto Shirogane. Shit. If I could plant a vegetable, what would it be excluding grapes? Grapes is not a vegetable, but my answer would be corn. I can't go wrong with corn. I just can't. Right. So we headed to August 8th now, the second day. From Jarring Toaster, your opinion on world domination. Good plan as long as I'm the one doing the dominating. Yes. What alignment would I use to describe myself? As long as no harm comes to anyone, it's fine. That's how I roll, so I guess chaotic good? Chaotic neutral? I don't know. Let's say it's chaotic good. Telekinesis, teleportation, or healing factor? Teleportation would be super useful. Fuck you, traffic. You have a ready-to-go, sentient, inactive, but can become active if it so chooses to, nuke in your home, helping to pay your rent. Would you keep it? Risk for contamination, I feel, would be too risky, so no. Strawberries, grapes, or apples? Strike that question. My answer is reverse that order. Apples, grapes, strawberries. In that order. Dracus asks, favorite Disney animated film excluding The Iron Giant, The Pebble and the Penguin, and The Brave Little Toaster. None of which are Disney animated films. You might have seen them on the Disney Channel as movies. But, I also thought Aladdin looked really good in my eyes. Sword in the Stone, Emperor's New Groove, The Great Mouse Detective. Emperor's New Groove if I had to pick one Disney movie. I've never seen the New School. I don't know. I dismissed it as trying to emulate the success of Hercules, which also did the high school thing, so. Josh Nara asks, what is your favorite wrestling memory? The first full pay-per-view I got to see on TV, which was WrestleMania 15. What's one promo you love to do a reenactment of? I have a few in mind. I was actually working on one before the sub count went to 250, so my focus went towards this instead. I really like the reenactments I'm doing as Edge, but I think I should branch out and do other promos with other people as well. I think my second Edge went way better in my honesty. All honesty, the Wake Up promo I did. Actually, I had to, like, kind of try for that one, kind of lower my voice and not do like the usual something like that. Kind of, that's what I'm trying to do with these reenactments, get a little more comfortable and stepping out of my normal voice, you know, when I do those. Who do you think should get a push? Kofi Kingston. It's been too long since his last one. It looked like they were doing something with Xavier Woods and Big E, and then I see on a SmackDown a week or so back, Big E's getting fed to Rusev again. What the shit? So I looked it up and they just fucking dropped it. Okay, next question. Worst gimmick in any wrestling company? The zombie from when ECW was on the Sci-Fi Channel. I know it was a one-time thing, but I don't know, at least Eugene might have been worth something because how involved he was in a main event setting once upon a time, but the zombie? Talk about a gimmick dead on arrival, or undead as the case may be. Your love of Justice or Christina V? My character in D&D? Justice. Me personally, Christina. Joey Joe asks, do you prefer Xbox or PlayStation? Honestly, it was all in that first controller feel for me. I got super used to the PlayStation controller since the first PlayStation right away. Because it's basically a Super Nintendo controller with analog sticks and 2 more shoulder buttons. I only got to try the Xbox original controller once at a GameStop and it just did not feel right at all. No familiarity whatsoever. I know it's roughly the same as the PlayStation controller, but the difference was very noticeable, especially, like I said, coming from the SNES controller to PlayStation controllers overall. And I always thought the game selection back then was better overall, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. I'm not dumping on you guys that use Xbox. I do think sometimes Xbox has a better online in terms of choice, not so much price. PlayStation 3's online really had to play catch-up for a while, but the selection of the classic PS1 and PS2 games really helped with that, and they're kind of have closed the gap since, in my opinion. Dracus once again asks, what's the worst place to get sand trapped in? Probably in someone's vagina. Not fun. I would imagine it not being fun at all. Next day he asked, favorite scat song? Scatman Natch. Stewman46 asks, how many video games do you have? Too many. Between the 3 PlayStations, Game Boy Advance, DS, 3DS. If I had to ballpark it for you, I'd say 250. Maybe 200, 250. Naoto already asked your other question about what inspired me to start YouTubing, which I answered. But I guess I could answer it by saying how I found out about YouTube in general, which is through someone by the user of Tapion or Typeon with some random numbers I couldn't remember off the top of my head. Now, I'm talking early YouTube, like dial-up internet, 10 minutes maximum per video, unless you joined relatively early on. I saw videos of old NES games from start to finish, tool-assisted runs, so I started watching them, and I found other videos of video game reviewers and such like that, and after I spent practically my entire day on YouTube, I decided, what the hell, I'll get an account name and start favoriting other channels so I would not miss any content, which eventually got me wanting to start making videos of my own, of course. Jarring Toaster again asks, how much ham is too much ham? More than 1 slice is too much ham for me. I'm kind of okay with ham. I usually like it with apples sometimes to sweeten it up, a little brown sugar. I've since come to the realization that either A1 sauce or good barbecue sauce will pretty much save anything I didn't like back then when I was a kid. And ham was one of them. I didn't really care for it because it's like really salty. Even now it's like really salty to me. Like so you gotta like downplay it with a different kind of sauce if you can. Would you prefer pork? Absolutely. You have an indestructible bucket. What would you do with it? Build some armor out of that shit and become a vigilante. What is your favorite... sorry. Get ahead of myself. Ryan Nguyen asks, what is your favorite game? Chrono Trigger, River City Ransom, Capcom vs. SNK 2, the Real Bout series of Fatal Fury. It's hard to pick just one. How did you make your name? Long story short, I was coming off of a bad breakup and was feeling a little down in the dumps and sorry for myself. And I had one username in mind, but it was taken, so I came up with searching for Rinoa instead, because I really adore Rinoa from Final Fantasy VIII, and still do kind of to this day. I never really meant for this name to catch on. I only took the names just so I could subscribe to my favorite YouTubers and see whenever they had new content. Donovan White, you are too late. So are you, Vexper. Again, but you came with questions, and I did not take down the video at midnight like I intended to do, so I will allow it. You even asked more than 5 questions since I've lifted that stipulation for the final day and change. Real name? Well, my first name is Brian. How old are you? 30-ish? I guess when you reach a certain age, you stop counting. At least I do. When can we expect another Venomous Vocals? Yeah! KZ, when can we expect another Venomous Vocals? Well, KZX here, I don't know. Put me on the spot here. Oh. I don't know why. Turned into Foghorn Leghorn almost. I don't know, I guess I can't get his Piggle Feather in my head. That's the only one I can actively do. Like, hello, boys and girls, Mr. Piggle Feather here. Ooh! Well, remember, Casey, sharing is caring. Ugh. Mutton, fresh mutton! It's fine, he's doing stuff. Honestly, with him doing LPs of Final Fantasy X and Zillia, I'd have a lot on my plate myself and wouldn't want to make other videos right now, so you get to pass for now. Steak or pizza? Pizza. Jackson 5 or Ginyu Force 5? Ginyu Force rules. Can we expect song covers in the future? Nothing planned. I don't want to say never again, but that song for Valentine's Day, whew, that almost killed me. If I ever do it again, I'm probably going to get in some more practice and not wait till the last goddamn minute. I'm sorry, I only wrote that song like 2-3 days ago before then, and I just like, I thought I had enough practice in, but it was only like a couple days, like I said, very last minute. Dumbest wrestling finisher? Probably Wade Barrett's old finisher, the Wasteland. Very unhype. Dream matches of PG era / Attitude era. The exact opposite of the Wasteland, in my opinion, I feel would be PG era CM Punk versus Attitude era Shawn Michaels. I would like to see how that would turn out. If you were a wrestler, what's your ring name, attire, and finisher? My ring name would be the Jersey Devil. I'd have one of those jackets with like a hood over it, like AJ Styles, and like a red and black kind of thing. I couldn't think of a finisher. Maybe if I was like a monster heel, all I can think of is either like going for like a press slam, like holding you above my head with 2 hands, kind of like the Warrior would do, and then just drop you from behind. But instead, I would like push you up and then maneuver myself for like a fall down cutter, like the RKO, kind of like he falls down with you, kind of thing. That, or if I could pull it off, maybe the Canadian Destroyer. I would have a release suplex as my setup before I do that, though. Like, just grab you from behind, just suplex you, either release you or go for maybe like a German suplex pin or something like that. What would your entrance be like? I'd bring back slowly coming from the floor with fire surrounding me, like the Brood had back in the day. Those guys were awesome. They were heels, but they got super over just because of that entrance, like how the Wyatts right now are having that kind of thing. I feel with the fans with the light up phones and all that. It's always really, really cool to see because it looks like stars from the background. It looks amazing. If you didn't get a chance to ask me anything, don't worry. I've since put up an account for ask.fm, so you can ask me questions there. I will put the link to that in the description below. I thank all of you who asked. I thank all of you who took the time to ask any of those questions. I thank all of you who taken the time now to watch this video. I especially thank all my 250 now plus subscribers. I think I gained like 3 more as soon as the video went up. Then the Q&A, like, original video went up. So, thank you all. and enjoy the rest of your day.